how to order decimals. So we've got 0.3 and we're going to compare it to 0.28. And we're going to put in either a less than sign, a greater than sign, or an equal sign. So when we compare decimal sizes, which one's bigger or which one's smaller, what we need to do is make the number of digits after the decimal point the same, because once we do that, it just becomes so much easier. So I'm going to write this out over here. So I've got 0.3 and I've got 0.28, and I'm going to line them up. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in a 0 there. And then I'm going to label. We've got our ones, we've got our tenths, and we've got our hundredths. So you can now see that this number has 30 hundredths, and this number here is 28 hundredths. So 0.3 must be bigger than 0.28. So I'm going to put a greater than sign, like that. Another way of thinking about it is to look at it almost like a bit of a game in terms of a competition, which number wins. So we start here with the units, and it's a draw. So if it's a draw, we go along to the next column. And then you can see that 3 tenths, 3 here is more than 2 here. Therefore, the 0.3 must be bigger than 0.28. So, and if this was a draw, we just go to the next column here and compare this, and keep going to compare them. So 0.3 is greater than 0.28. And remember, putting in the 0 here, ensuring the number has the same number of digits after the decimal point, really helps. So let's compare now 0.09 with 0.1. Now with this question, some people might look at it and think, well, 1 is worth less than a 9. But this is where you've got to be careful and take your time and think about what you're doing. Again, I'm going to put in my 0 there. So I've got 0.09 and I'm comparing it with 0.10. So I'm going to do that game of checking which one's bigger, starting on the left and moving along. So again, I've got 0 here, and I've got my decimal point, and here I've got 1/10 versus no tenths. So therefore, 0.1 is greater than 0.09. Another way of looking at it is this number is 9 hundredths. And this number is 10 hundredths, which is the same as 1/10. So the arrow goes this way. And finally, 0.7 versus 0.70. 0.7, 0.70, and I start here with the zeros are the same, and I go to the next column, and they're the same. I put in my 0, and they're the same. So look, we've got 70 hundredths is the same as 70 hundredths. So 0.7 is the same as 0.70. So these two are equivalent. Because what we're really saying here is that 7 tenths equals 70 hundredths. So let's go on to look at a question that involves more than 2 decimals. Order from smallest to largest: 0.82, 1.2, 0.09 and 0.9. First thing we need to do is write these out in a column like we did here, lining up the decimal point, lining up the digits, and if we do that, it's going to make it much easier. Once you get good at this, you don't have to do this as much, lining them up. Write them out like this. So all lined up the decimal point, and we've got our tenths and our hundredths and our units. Again, we've got 0 units, except here we've got 1 unit. So straight away I can see that because we've got 1 unit, this must be the largest number. So I can put that in there, 1.2. Now, I'm going to add in my missing zeros. So the number of digits after the decimal point for every single number is the same. And now they're easy to compare. We go to the next column and we have, so we know this one's the highest number, so we can cross that out. We've got a 9 beats an 8 and beats a 0. So this one must be the second biggest number. 0.9. We don't write 0.90, we just write the original number. So we can gently put a line through that. And then this number here, 0.82, beats 0.09. 0.82 and then 0.09. Another way of looking at it again is to say, well, this is 1.2, so this is 1 and 2/10, 1.2. So that's clearly the largest, it's got a whole 1 there. This one here is 0.9, is 90 hundredths. There's my 90 hundredths. And 90 hundredths is bigger than 82 hundredths. And by putting in the 0, we can see that 90 hundredths is the same as 9/10. So this is 9/10, isn't it? But it's also the same as 90 hundredths. And this one is 82 hundredths. So 90 hundredths is bigger, or if you like, beats 82 hundredths. But this one here, although it's got a 9, it's only 9 out of 100. It's only 9 hundredths, so it's going to be the smallest. Right, let's recap. Ordering decimals. Get a question like this, or it might say, someone says that 0.3 is smaller than 0.28. Is this person correct, yes or no, or true or false? The way that you work it out, or you might have a greater than or less than sign to put in, or an equal sign. The way you work it out is you write out the decimals again, put in the missing 0, so the number of digits after the decimal point is the same for both numbers, and then compare. This is a draw. We go to the next column. 3/10 beats 2/10. It doesn't matter what's written here, so 0.3 must be greater than 0.28, remembering that the wide end of the arrow here, the inequality sign, points towards the bigger number. And remembering that's 30 hundredths is greater than 28 hundredths. Then we looked at, finally here, ordering lots of numbers. Remember that exactly the same process. Write out the numbers, line up the decimal point, put in the missing zeros, and then it's easy to compare them doing the same method.